month of September is Suicide Prevention Month, highlighting that suicidal thoughts and mental health challenges can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, background. And while common, these thoughts signal deeper struggles that require attention. Jennifer Brush is the executive director of the Charleston-Dorchester Mental Health Center, an organization that's committed to addressing these issues by changing the conversation around mental health and ensuring that people and families have access to vital resources for conversations about mental health. And Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us to talk about this during this very important time of the month of September, when there was a focus on suicide prevention and mental health. So we appreciate your time. So we want to get right to some of the questions about some of the data and how suicides are happening right here in the local community. What are you discovering?
So suicide is the 11th leading cause of death across our nation. And suicide rates look like they might be going down a little bit from over the last couple of years, but the data comes in slowly. It takes a couple of years for us to kind of get the new data kind of figured out. But it's, it's still a problem. It's still something we need to address. We need to figure out how to get resources out there and help people know where to go for help.
And let's talk about that, some of the local initiatives that are being implemented right now to make sure that people know that there are places they can go when they are feeling challenged by life and not feeling safe or secure. What are some of the local initiatives that Charleston-Dorchester Mental Health are a part of?
Well, Charleston-Dorchester Mental Health and the South Carolina Department of Mental Health are working hard across the whole state to share information. We have an Office of Suicide Prevention. So we've been working with the Parks and Recreation. We've been working with the Department of Motor Vehicles, trying to put information in their buildings and in all of their locations. We have billboards around Charleston and Dorchester area you may have seen about mental health, the Department of Mental Health, 988, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so we really are trying to also educate the community. Right. So there's a lot of trainings that we offer to any kind of agencies on how to better recognize mental illness and people who may be suicidal.
And so one of the things that I'm realizing as you describe this, you're meeting people where they are. So these are places where people normally frequent and have to go to all the time, like the DMV, that there's information available for them there. Let's also talk about changing the narrative. Sometimes people are uncomfortable with talking about suicide, but with it being the 11th leading cause of death, it's a conversation that people need to have. How do you make people become more comfortable with talking about something that's so sensitive?
That's a great question. Probably talking about it more, bringing it into our homes and our schools and our offices and our break rooms, families around the dinner table, in our churches. I mean, we really need to just have the conversation about health and wellness all the time, talking about it in schools. So I think the more we have athletes and people that people recognize out in the community talk about it, I think it gets easier for people to feel like they can talk about it too.
You talked about that 988 number, which we know is readily available. It's a number that people can use and confidently and privately speak with someone who might be a resource if they are feeling challenged or they may have some suicidal ideation. Can you talk more about some of those resources?
Sure. So 988 actually launched in June of 2022, and thanks to our General Assembly here in South Carolina, we've been able to open a second 988 call center. And anyone can call 988, they can text 988, they can do a chat with 988 people, and there are 2 different call centers serving our state here in South Carolina. We're trying to grow them so that we can answer every caller that's coming from South Carolina by someone in South Carolina, because we know our resources better than anyone else.
We're just about out of time, but some other resources that you wanted to quickly tell us about, Jennifer, what are those?
We have a couple interactive screeners that we have. It's a partnership with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and the Children's Advocacy. So there are 2 screeners. There's an adult screener and a child screener, so that a parent can take a child there and do the screener and ask some questions and things, and a live person will answer back.
All right.
So it's hope.connectsyou.org is the adult screener, and hope.connectsouthcarolinakids.org is the child screener.
Jennifer Brush, thank you so much. Very important information. And we want people to know again that 988 is a number that's available if you are feeling overwhelmed, hopeless, or struggling with thoughts of suicide. There is help available. This is a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Again, that number is 988.